Thus, it's an impetus to discuss the situation with China. As we're joined now by Carice, Witte, the founder and executive director of Signal, that's a Sino-Israel global network and academic leadership. Thanks for being back on the program. China, no doubt, has emerged as a type of player in the Middle East. We're wondering how big. I mean, they brokered the Iran-Saudi rapprochement. They hosted the Palestinian Authority President Abbas last week, talking about a new peace deal even between Israel and Palestinians. Are they the new world power most present in the Middle East?
Well, they are definitely very present in the Middle East. It depends on which aspect of presence we're talking about, because when it comes to military, of course, the U.S. far outweighs anyone else. However, China's presence is definitely in technology, setting up smart and secure cities across the region, and as you noted, getting involved in diplomacy. Whether that's good for Israel or not, I think is pretty clear. When we hear from Xi Jinping and Wang Yi, the head diplomat of China, that they want to include the Global Security Initiative as the architecture of security for the region. And that talks about common security or indivisible security. As you heard earlier today from one of my colleagues on I-24, that does not necessarily bode well for Israel, and nor does the suggestion by China's leadership to take the entire conflict of Palestinian and Israel into the United Nations for the international community to weigh in on. We all know how welcome Israel is there. So yes, it's throwing its weight around much more. It definitely feels a wind in its diplomatic sails, but it is still number two to the United States.
Obviously, the United States in this discussion, anything to do with China at this point. But look, while visits for the Israeli prime minister to Washington are usually an annual affair, visits to Beijing maybe once, twice a decade. So does this visit now signal to Washington, perhaps, that Netanyahu has other diplomatic opportunities to pursue?
I don't think that China represents another diplomatic opportunity in that context. Israel is all over the globe, and it is really effectively a middle power on the global stage. And Israel's representatives, be it the prime minister or the foreign minister, are visiting leading countries around the world. Is a visit to China seen as a counterbalance to the U.S.? No. We know that the relationship between Israel and the United States is special, intense, involves a great deal of security factors, business, personal relations, etc. The relationship with China definitely is better and has improved over the last 10 years. However, it is not at all comparable to that of the U.S. China understands that. So the question is, what is this invitation? Is it real? Is it from Beijing? Is it a way to send a message to the United States? It's a question.
Look, it was mentioned, I think, during the visit of the Palestinian leader there last week, the Chinese touting that they have a new plan for Israeli-Palestinian peace. You allude to that a bit, that there's concerns on the Israeli side for how the Chinese are entering this fray. But what do we know? I mean, what's been revealed? What do we think we know about what the Chinese have in mind?
The Chinese have expressed the same idea for the past 7 years or so. They have held discussions in Beijing. They've invited non-decision makers, people from the Palestinian Authority and from Israel, who are not in a position to take forward any kind of serious peace deal. But now, since the Saudi rapprochement, China feels like it can be more public with the same idea. And that idea has been, we are willing to hold discussions, and we want to address this problem in the context of the United Nations, a place where China uses the numbers game. It is the #1 trade partner with many countries, and it sees itself as the lead of the global South, which is over 130 countries. Biden is perceived as the leader of the democracies or developed countries, which is something around 36 countries. Take that to the United Nations, put Israel and the Palestinian Authority in that mix, and where do we come out?
Well, we've seen some versions of that show before the UN. Carice, Witte, thanks for being with us on the program today. Appreciate it.
Great pleasure. Thank you very much.